We're very, very happy to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you guys. And the information that you're going to get today has never been heard, never been shared. Okay? Y'all hear me? All right, I got what I call the 3 B's. I'm going to be brief, I'm going to be brilliant, and I'm going to be seated. Those are my 3 B's. But I want you guys just to relax. Okay? Everybody take a deep breath in. Out, in, out. Okay, because when we're speaking, we want you to get what we're trying to get over to you, because it's very important information. I hope you got a notebook, or electronic people, get it in there, whatever you need to do, because we want to make sure you get this information. And how many of you guys have been to conferences all your life, kind of? Raise your hand. Raise your hand a little higher. Okay, put it down. Because a lot of times we go to a lot of conferences over and over again, and we're inspired, and we get inspiration, but then there's no activation. It's about activation. And that's what we want to give you, some tools that you can use, some things that you can understand. Because we're here to make sure everybody in this room can maximize their full potential with the information we're going to give you. But everything you do, whether it's government, private, whatever it is, you got to make sure you always go to the basics. Everything starts with the basics. Everything. And if you overlook the basics, you're going to fall hard because you don't have a good foundation. So make sure at the very end, we're going to make sure we get you some things that you can write down and say, okay, Dexter said to do this, 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 and this. And if you do those things, you're going to get closer to being able to live out your dreams. If you just write them down and don't take action, you're going to be in the same spot as a lot of people still doing nothing. Do y'all understand that? We're going to relax this thing. I want y'all to relax. This is not the Secret Service in here trying to do anything to you. We're here to give you some real information. All right. I'm going to start with the basics, and you got to understand how government works. We spend trillions of dollars every single year, no doubt. Trillions of dollars. But you got to ask yourself, am I getting any of that money in my hand? A lot of time the government is kind of taking your money. But as business owners, you should be in a position where you can receive money, just like you see other people that got government contracts. People start their business, get their things together, and then next thing you know, they see a big jump in how much money they're bringing into their company because it's rightfully yours. I'm just going to put it like this. We're going to say I'm all of you guys state representative, okay? I am your elected official. You elected me, and you are my constituent. So anything that you need, I'm there to make sure I get you to the right resources. Okay, as an individual, you're my constituent. You call me and, Mr. Sharper, we need this, or I need this done, or this is my concern, or I want to work on some legislation with you. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But when you are a business, and you are in my district especially, I also want to make sure your business is doing well. You can hold me accountable for you being a business in my district. It doesn't start with you just being a person, I want your vote and we're good. No. Dexter, I have a business, and I know y'all got them contracts. I want me one of them contracts. But then you got to be in position to get that contract. Anybody ever ran into like a roadblock, a little red flag, or is this for some reason they pushing back against something you're trying to do? Your elected official can help you get through some of that red tape and those roadblocks. But if you don't have a relationship with them, guess what? You're going to be just like everybody else. That's why this course today is a very, very important one, because I'm going to give you the tools you need to get closer to where you want to get. It's about relationships, networking with people. But let me give you what I call the 2 3s. On your sheet of paper, you're going to write 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to give you something to put in there. And then later on, I'm going to give you some really good stuff. But when I say getting back to the basics and knowing what you need to do in your business, here's 3 things you need. And some of y'all are going to say, oh, my goodness, I understand. I messed up too. Or some of y'all started business and then you was doing it the wrong way and then you spent a lot of money and you're like, man, I wish I would have listened to somebody or had somebody to help me. Let me show you this. First of all, this is what I recommend when you're doing anything. Is first wise counsel. Wise counsel. Somebody that know what they're doing. Wise counsel. And some people call them coaches, some are mentors. But wise counsel. See, a coach can coach you all the way through. Your mentor can help you. But if your mentor is not doing the type business or something that you're doing, that's when you need somebody in that particular field to help you. So wise counsel is what you're going to need. Let's go through the mentoring and coaching. Second thing you need is you need clarity. Some of y'all all over the place. Don't know what your brand is. Tomorrow you're doing this. Next week you're doing that. Come out and say, you won't thought about this? Yeah, I do that too. Then you're over here. You're all over the place. Anybody? Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Somebody told on somebody over here. All over the place. There's a lot of talented people in here, I bet you. Y'all can do a whole lot of different things. But that don't mean you need to do all of them, especially at the same time. Because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So your wise counsel can help you get clarity because they're not going to let you be all over the place. I don't care what you want to do. I say, I'm holding you accountable. This is where you need to be. Because you can only have this third one. Focus. Focus. Wise counsel. Clarity. And then focus. Those are the top 3 things I tell anybody, especially when you're trying to do working with the government or any company. You got to be focused. I got to know your brand. I got to know your language. When I talk to you, I need to know what you do. Y'all got to make sure you have what we call that elevator type mentality, and Naomi will go into that a little bit more, talking about the branding and marketing and the image you got to have when you're talking about dealing with people, because it starts with you. But then you got to be in a position where you can handle a contract. And that's what Dylan will be talking about. Your capacity, scaling your business, getting you in position. All right, so we got the first 3s. What's the number 1? Number 2? 3. Boy, y'all on it. I like that. All right, the next 3 things. Get ready to write them down. Because we here, I want to see results. Time is valuable. Okay, the next 3 things you need. And boy, this is what get a lot of them, what they don't have right here. Number 1, you got a structure. You got a structure in your business. Structure, we're going to call that the kind of like the shell or more or less the structure of something. Number 1 is the structure. Number 2 is systems within the structure. You can have systems. You can have systems to connect things together. And then thirdly, you got to have a way to network all these systems together within the structure before you can go outside. So some of you guys may not have the right structure you need. But we're going to talk about the structure you need. We're going to talk about the systems on the inside that makes everything smooth, and then you network it all together. So if you want to do business, period, you still have to have a structure. You got to have a system, and you got to have that network. And I'm going to mention this real quick. This might get some of y'all. There is no I in team. And guess what you need if you really want to grow your business? A team. A lot of y'all been trying to do it by yourself for a long time, and you're not growing. It's not the fact that you don't know what you're doing, but if you, HR, marketing, promotion, branding, the operator of the business, the owner of the business, the payroll clerk, let's just say you got 5 duties. You busting those up in 20%, because all you have is 100% worth of energy. But you trying to do all these things, and you ain't really making no impact. You ain't making no impact. You're running yourself down. You're self-employed instead of a business owner. There's a difference. Some people have been self-employed a long time because sometimes you don't want to change. But the biggest thing is, for one, you might not have the wise counsel. Can't nobody tell you nothing. Sometimes you know too much. Uh-oh, come on now. Sometimes we can maybe learn some stuff, but we know it all. We know it all. So you don't have that wise counsel. You're doing everything by yourself, and the next thing you know, you want to give up, you want to quit. You got a great product, you got a great service, but you want to quit because it's getting to you energy-wise, frustrating you. But guess what? When you get your structure and you get your systems in place, you got to build a team. You cannot do this by yourself. I'm telling you that. You can't do it by yourself. You got to create a team. And I'm going to throw you a little nugget right here. If you feel that once you get your team, or basically once you get your structure and system, you've had your wise counsel, you had both of those 2 threes we're talking about. Once you get that in order, and you got somebody kind of helping you, hey, look, this is what you need to do. One thing you can do is get you an intern. Write that down, somebody. Get you an intern for free for about 6 weeks. But guess what? You can get more than one intern for different things. Who said that? Amen. For different things. One in that department, one in that department. Get them to replace what you've been doing. You become the real CEO so you can work on your business instead of in your business. So many people working in their business, and you don't have time to work on your business. That's what you got to do. You got to do that. You got to think differently. If you want different results, you got to think differently. You got to know, man, okay, Dexter, I need help. So therefore, you got to tell yourself, I need the things that he's talking about. I need to put those things in place. Because I have a team here, Delvin Sharper Consulting Group. This is our team. And we have more people. We got some interns in. But before they got ready to leave, we said, you did such a good job. We want to hire you. We want to hire you. And I said, let's get some more interns. Let's get some more, because we helping other people at the same time, because these kids, young people, they need real experience. And you need the help. And if by 6 weeks you get them in and they're working, they're doing what they need to do, you're like, hey, you know what? Man, I like this. I want to keep you. You got any more interns at that school you was at? Bring them on. Get a relationship with some of these universities, technical schools, depending on what you do. Get a relationship. Fill out the paperwork. Help somebody. We just got another intern that we just hired, 2 weeks ago, officially December the 1st. I think we got them in October, November, whenever we got them. And next thing you know, we were happy. She showed them the system. They took that system, did it, brought some new ideas, like, hey, we don't want to let her go. I said, what you doing after we sign off? She said, well, I'll be looking. I said, no, you look no further. We want you. And we got her. That's what we got to do. Now, let me tell y'all, thank you, amen. But I'm going to tell y'all a brief story, and you got to pay attention.
Before we get to the story,
go ahead.
One other thing
Teamwork
that I want to call out about having interns and having other people in your organization is they come with a different mindset than you have. So they ask questions about your business. Have you ever thought about doing it this way? Would you ever consider doing this? Right? So that extra perspective allows you to grow your business in a different area. Not only that, but when you set them up in a system and you train them up to replace you, because ideally that's what you want, you can now stop working in your business and work on your business. So I trust this intern who we just brought on full time now to do what I've already trained her to do. So now I can focus on a different area of my business, right? And so now if I have, I have a certain industry I'm working in, right? And now I say I want to shift and start doing government contract work. You've got to go get learnings in government contract work. What do I need incremental to I'm already running my business? What are they going to expect from me? How can I bring someone else in who knows, whether that's my elected official or anybody else who knows about government? I can start to focus on that portion of my business. This one is always running like a machine. Another one is already running like a machine. And now I can start to expand. And I'll give it back to him. But when we talk about scaling, we'll get deeper into that portion. But that's the value of having other people on your team is new perspective, new ideas, and give yourself time to breathe and think about other areas of your business so you can expand. Does that make sense?
All right, y'all see how teamwork works? And guess what? Whenever they say something or add something in, I'm like this. I'm taking it in. I'm taking it in. Because it's going back to the point of, we'll get to this story, and then I'll show y'all what he did, okay, into our business. This is my son, okay? All right? So I'm going to do this really, really fast. I started my first business 7 years old, okay? 7 years old, I had a little candy business. But what happened with this, and you got to listen to everything I say, there are many lessons, all right? And they'll show you how that brand got to where it is today. Started with a candy. A little boy, next door neighbor, he said, Dexter, you'll go to the store with me to get some 9-liters. We used to call them kids back then. Some of y'all old school, we used to call them kids. But they 9-liters. And the school was here, my house was here, but the store was here. And I was like, man, I could just go on to the, to school instead of going way over there and coming back over here. So I said, okay, I'll go. He bought me 3 packs of 9-liters. We got to school. Somebody came up, they had the 9-liters. Somebody came up to me and said, Dexter, you give me some of them 9-liters? Now, my parents was kind of entrepreneurs, right? So she asked me for some 9-liters. And I said, they 25 cents. Now, they cost 10 cents at the store. But they was 25. Mine was 25 cents. How much did they cost me? How much they really cost me? Just the effort to walk to the store. I came over here, and what's your name? Janelle. Janelle, as soon as she got her eating, and she saw her eating, and you can call me Dexter, but when you ask her, where'd you get those, what did you tell her? So I'm right there with my little stuff. She was eating, and what did you ask her? So she came to me, and you were eating, and he saw you, and what did you ask her? All right, what did I tell him when he came to me? Huh? What did I say to him? Are y'all paying attention? What? Say what? I'm sold out. So what did I tell him? I'll bring some tomorrow. And so the word got out that Dex was selling candy. You wanted yours, and I got my little notebook. Everybody came up to me. Everybody at school came up to me, figuring out, hey, I want some tomorrow. I want some tomorrow. I was like, what flavor you want? And I did that. And when you're in elementary school, you also have like city council. Or not city council, but school student council. So think now, I'm selling this candy. And I ran for one of the offices. Who you think they voted for? What was possibly my nickname at school? That's where my branding started. As an elected official and also as a businessman. So I did that elementary school. I went to middle school, same thing. I added on 3 more people. Okay, to work for me, because my brand was made. And I found this little book. I was in the library. And back then you used to look at the mafia on TV and stuff like that. And I found this book called Super Mafia. And I saw they had an organization. Like they had the boss, the council, the underboss, the captains, the soldiers, button men. You have this whole organizational chart. So when I got ready to go to high school, and see, I'm still winning elections, elementary, middle school, getting voted on, because I started my business at what age? 7. Okay, y'all paying attention. Got to high school. And you know them schools be bigger. I had 11 employees working for me when I was in high school. 9 selling candy. 1 did my chores at home that I couldn't do because I was no longer working, chore stuff. He could handle that. And also 1 was like a bodyguard when we went to school. Because I had what with me? But I had an organization. You ain't see me selling no candy. We had a system set up where I don't touch the candy. But I had wise counsel too. See, y'all see what I'm talking about? Wise counsel. I had clarity that I was going to be the biggest candy dealer in the history of my school. And I accomplished that because I was focused on it. But I had that structure and we had systems. They knew the troubleshooting systems of what happens. So we networked this thing together. See how basic that is, even at a small level? So that's what you got to think about, truly. Those things I gave y'all, you got to put that in order. But the biggest thing, you got to get out your own way. You got to get out your own way. Because I had to do that. In my party rental business, I have a party rental business. Bouncing houses, tables, chairs, cotton candy, popcorn, snow cone, water slides, all that stuff. Tablecloths, linens, chair covers, all that. And I was working in my business. I wasn't working on the business. And then I got hurt. I had a hernia, so I had to slow down and say you can't live in that for about 3 or 4 months. But I was everything. I was forced to have to create a team around that. But once I did it, we started flowing. And he had went off to the University of Georgia. Went to school. He came back home through the summer. And he said, well, Daddy, let me look at your, I don't know what you call it. What are you asking me for? You asked me for my numbers, and you was doing, what'd you tell me?
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers. I wanted to see our revenue growth year over year. I got it from him, the whole business, the numbers. I was intrigued by it. I also sold candy when I was in middle school. I also used to rent my shoes to my brother because he's irresponsible, and he would always get his shoes dirty. So if you want to wear my shoes, it's going to cost you. But I think I had been working in the business, in the family business since I was like 7 or 8. So I was always in the field. I was doing the actual dirty work, never really in the books until about high school. I say sophomore, junior, and senior year, I was kind of doing both sides of it. Went off to college, came back after my freshman year, and I'm like, I want to see how the business is doing. Where can I now use some of the stuff I'm learning in college to accelerate the growth of the business? How can I be a more valuable team player than just a soldier? Kind of want to be an underboss now, a captain, whatever. And so I said, I want to look at your numbers, see what I can do to help the business. And he took a guess on how much money he was making year over year, how much he's grown and all that stuff. And one day I was looking at the books for April of some year, I don't remember. And April is typically when we're starting to ramp up, right? It's not really big season, but it's our ramp up season. And so I'm looking at the numbers, thinking about, expenses, how can we optimize our, routes and all that stuff. And I said, to myself, I was like, dang, as I was looking at the numbers, ran through all the paperwork, now I'm questioning myself, like, did I add this up the right way? Am I multiplying when I should be adding? And I said, do you know how much money you're making? He threw out a number that was woefully low. Like, it surprised me how much he was making too. And I said, no, you made this much money this month. He was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, you want to come look at the numbers with me? And so what he wasn't paying attention to, and that what I paid attention to, was if I have this much capital and this much extra revenue coming in, and my expenses are staying relatively the same year over year, what is that excess? It's profit. And what do I want to do with the profit? Reinvest to do what? To scale. There's a difference between growing and scaling, and we'll talk about it a little bit too. But now that you have someone else paying attention to your business who can think about things differently than you can, I'm like, hey, let's expand to a different city. Let's get a couple more people on the team. Let's market a little bit differently. Are we really leveraging social media the way we should, right? So all of these things come from someone else coming to your business, Now you're working on your business. I said, all right, look, now that we have this, he said, okay, I can expand this part of my business. Maybe that's the tents. I want to get bigger tents. I want to get more tables. I said, okay, you go do that. Invest in that. Let me run the day-to-day with the bounce houses in that side of the business. So now I am CEO of this side of the business, and he's running, kind of the venture side, I'll call it, on what other things that we can do to better serve our consumer base, right? And so that's kind of that value that you come into. And it's kind of fun when you get to work with your dad, when you get to work with people that you enjoy, that you learn from and things like that. But I appreciate that he respects my opinion on things and he listens, right? As bosses and as self-employed people, a lot of times we don't listen. Clap for that. We don't listen. We think we know it all, right? We think we have our best interests at heart, or no one can run our business better than we can. It's a lie. Because we made more money under my tutelage than his. A lot of that wasn't just me, though. It was the expansion and the co-development. But it's because we can kind of be more humble and say, I don't know it all, right? When he got the hernia, he couldn't do things, right? He had to stay in the bed. He couldn't get up and go take a bounce house, but I could. I could also find other things and other efficiencies within the business that allowed us to grow at a more efficient rate, that allowed us to turn a better profit, right? And those are the things you want to look at, and I'll give it back to him in a second. But bringing it back to government, too, you want to be reputable and you want to be credible when you're dealing with the government, right?
Write that down.
You want to be reputable and you want to be credible. That means we're going on a heist, HYST, have your together, right? Because that's what we're looking for. If we think about the government as a business, right? Because a lot of your Western world and more developed nations run as a business. Don't y'all balance a budget every January? Yes. Don't we have government shutdowns when the budget ain't been balanced or we can't decide on what we want to do? Think about the government as a business structure, right? And within this business, they are woefully underemployed or understaffed, right? And so a significant portion of the $700 billion that goes into government contracts, a significant portion of that goes to the private sector because they need us to help them in certain things. And when we think about government contracts, it's typically defense spending is probably the first thing we look at is, how are these people who are developing missiles helping the government? They need lawn care service at the local level. They need staffing for people who, like apparel and stuff when they have the government uniforms on. Someone has to clean those. Someone has to produce those. So government contracts it goes across a bunch of different things. But you want to have your things together and your things in order so you know what to, kind of expect, or I know what I need to give them before they ask me for it. And then when you have those inside connections, you have an inside track to get in some of those contracts. But even if you don't, when you show up as your best self and you have what you need in order to scale to get government contracts, it all starts to work together and it's kind of more seamless at that point. Does that make sense? So I'll turn it back over to you. I ain't want to steal the thunder.
But no, you're good. See, but we're showing you guys the process of what you need in place and building that team, respecting each other. Naomi's been my mentee for 8 years or even longer. And she met me at the Capitol. And she had another state representative assigned to her. And I just had me and my friend named Josh. He's a good friend of mine, and he was helping me, my legislative manager. And we'd be talking about business, doing different things. You want to tell the story?
Yeah, we can do it.
Tell the story, how
Hi,
you
everyone.
became my mentee.
Just so we're not complete strangers, I'll introduce myself. First of all, when I think of Dylan, that's the money man. That is the person who helps you to scale your business, take your business to the next level. The numbers got to make sense. If the numbers don't make sense, you don't got a business. I think a lot of us want to say that we have businesses, but when we look at the numbers, it's like, how you got a business and it's only $5 in a bank account? That's not a business. Let's have that real discussion. When we're talking about government, we're talking about getting that business over to you. We need to understand how that money is going to be dispersed. There are reports that you have to give them to see how that money has been dispersed. So if you're not currently doing that before you get a government contract, how do you expect that once you're given that contract that you're going to continue to be in compliance? But we'll get to that in a little bit. So when I think of Dylan, I think of that's the money man. It got to make sense. The numbers got to be right. He needs reports. He got to see it. He'd be like, nah, we're not spending money on that. Or, yeah, maybe we can pay $55 on valet. That's the man who makes those kind of decisions. But, yes, I have been so grateful to have been mentored by Rep a little bit over 8 years. So my first degree is in political science from Spelman College, just so we are not complete strangers. And we'll get into that. A big part of marketing is, who are you? Like, marketing starts with you. Do people want to talk to you? Do you look presentable? First of all, you get one time to make a first impression. You don't get a second time. You get one time to make a first impression. What does your hair look like? How are you dressed? How are you speaking? What are you saying? Everything that you're saying, is it of value? Because you don't always got to talk. Like, you don't always have to talk. The words that are coming out your mouth, are they of value? And so I think that we forget that a big piece of marketing our business is fixing ourselves. I think a lot of us need rebranding individually. We need a glow-up plan. That's what I call it, a glow-up plan, where you're very, very intentional about jotting it all down. Finances, what does my hair look like? What do I want my ideal self to look like? A lot of us probably need to go on diets, because that's a big part of who you are, how you function, how you move. And if you can't walk and you out of breath and you're unhealthy, how can the business stand? How can the business grow? So I think a big part of marketing is, who are you as a person? How do you present yourself? And what value do you bring? Because if you don't bring value, nobody wants to connect with you. I got this thing in my brain, is you pay your way to the top or you serve your way to the top, right? So it's big about, like, I'm big on cultivating relationships. I'm not like, I'm okay with that awkward moment, like that first awkward, like, hi, my name's Naomi. I'm okay with that. It's going to be super awkward, but you never know where that relationship is going to take you. When I first met Rep, I'm one thing about Naomi, she's going to be dressed up, she's going to be in a suit, she's going to have her makeup, and her hair's going to be fine. We're going to talk about how I made that in the business too. But it's about, who are you? And for me, it was big on bringing value. At that moment, Rep probably didn't know that he needed a mentee, but I knew I needed a mentor. I was searching for a mentor, but I also brought value. One thing about Naomi, she gonna figure out to tell you how you could get reelected. I'm gonna come up with that strategy to bring value. What value do you bring? And that's just, when you're looking at government contracts, is, what value do you bring? What makes you different? Why should the government give you their money? So a little bit about myself. My first degree is in political science. That's how I was able to connect with Rep. I was an intern at the Georgia Black Caucus. And every time I saw a Rep, he was just sharp. And I'm like, this man is really sharp. Like, not sharp or his name, but he was dressed to the T. And he always had a book. But at that time, when I was in college, I was seeking. There's a scripture that I love. It's not about religion, but it says, seek and you shall find. Whatever you're looking for is going to always be presented in front of you, simply because your intentions are there. And so whatever you're looking for is going to come. And at that time, when I was in college, I'm like, okay, I think I want to be a lawyer. But the lawyer lifestyles I'm seeing, I don't think this is what I want. They just don't seem so happy. And I was just like, oh, sorry, Attorney Graham, y'all, one of my clients is here. We're going to introduce you later, Attorney Graham. But at that time, I was just like, they don't have the light, they don't look happy. They really don't look happy. And I'm just like, and not only just that, for me, a lot of them, they weren't like Attorney Graham. They didn't have their own firms. A lot of them were tied to firms that held them down, took them away from their families. And I didn't want that for my life. I was like, I want to start my own business. I really don't want people to tell me what to do. And at that time, I was seeking. And I was reading all these books, and I was finding that every time I came to the Capitol, Rep was reading one of the books that I read or one of the books that was on my list. And so I was big on just that initial weird, hi, Rep, how are you? At that time, I used to call him State Representative Dexter Sharper. State Representative Dexter, how are you? And those initial relationships, it's going to be awkward. Remember, a big part of getting those government contracts is cultivating those relationships. It's relationships. They're people. They're people who have the power to give you these $1 million contracts. So what you going, because you don't want to feel awkward, because you don't want to walk up to them and say hello or introduce yourself or give cards, and there's fortune in the follow-up. Y'all, they're getting cards. They're going to call them. This is the perfect time. It's a holiday season. This is the perfect time to reach out to people. pick up the phone and call. I don't like text messages because you'll pick up the phone for 10 seconds and that 10 seconds is going to be the difference between you getting that government contract or you not getting that contract. Pick up the phone for 10 seconds. Hey, I was just calling to say happy holidays. Happy holidays. We don't know what people celebrate, what people believe in. Happy holidays. Keep it nice and simple. You got until like January 15th. People are going to still be celebrating. And that's how it starts. That's how it starts. And so for me, when I first came into business, when I graduated Spelman, I moved to New York, on Long Island in New York. And I found that everybody was driving an hour to Brooklyn, to the Bronx, to get their hair done, to get wigs and waist trainers. And that's what he talked about, that focus. So I was like, if they're driving an hour to get wigs and waist trainers, I'm about to start supplying wigs and waist trainers. And that's exactly what I did. I started a business called K-Vanity, and wise counsel is so important. And the business scaled so fast simply because I had a rep next to me. He didn't understand wigs or waist trainers. He still doesn't agree with wigs and waist trainers. But he was able to tell me how to scale that business. That business scaled so fast because I understood what marketing was. And marketing is still changing. It's shifting now. Now they want to see if you do have a LinkedIn account. Now they want to see what's going on your YouTube, what's going on your Instagram, what does the Google profile says. So if you don't have a Google profile, technically nowadays, you're not even a real business. What are those reviews looking like? These are all the parts of marketing that are important, y'all. Marketing is shifting. Social media is a big piece of everybody's business. That's just what it is now. Social media isn't going anywhere. The different outlets when it comes to social media may change. Like we may have TikTok yesterday and tomorrow we have Threads, which is like now the new Twitter. So the different outlets may change. So if you're not on YouTube right now, I don't know what you're doing, because that's the new TV. That's where all the money, that's where all the capital, that's where the attention is. Wherever attention is, capital is. So if you're a small business and you're not giving us 30-second shorts, YouTube shorts, what are you doing? We need some redirecting, because how you expect the government to give you money and you're not even marketing and branding? Does that make sense? Okay, Rep, go for it.
Oh, wait, real quick. And if y'all don't think the government is doing their own market research when it comes to who we hand these contracts out to, they're looking, one, they're probably going to lead with the cost. How much is it going to cost me to go with this company, this company, this company? But they're vetting across the gamut to see, okay, who's got the lowest price, or what is the industry average on what I should pay for this service that I'm looking for. But if you don't think they're out there doing that, looking at your website, looking at your shorts to see, okay, is this person reputable? How are their reviews looking? All those different things, they're doing that. So when you go to submit a government contract, and we'll talk about some of the specifics on how you even get registered for stuff like that too. But if you don't have all that stuff in place and you don't know what the right price for whatever your service is, or you're over or underpriced, that can get you out of a government contract. But they're doing the work, so you need to be doing the work. Again, I need to know what you need before you ask me for it, and I got to give it to you at a good price, because those government contracts are for a long time, but they do expire. So you got to be able to do good work, and you also got to be able to deliver what they need you to deliver. So.
Right, and sometimes you can do it too low that they don't want you. Because you're under, they like, oh, if he could do it, that we don't want it. Cheap labor, all that. But and y'all still with us? Breathe in, breathe out.
Y'all need to stand up for a little bit.
Y'all good? Y'all stretch out a little bit? Okay, y'all good? Y'all can stand up for a second. Y'all stand up real quick. Y'all stand up real quick. Chris, come here for a second. Chris, hurry. All right, what I want y'all to do, oh, you got a picture last year. Okay, last year. Okay, y'all real quick so you can move a little bit. I want y'all to clap real good and get you moving. Give yourselves a big hand for being here. Chris, give me some more of that. Give me some more of that. So we can make sure, tell everybody I got a standing ovation. All right, y'all can stop. Y'all can stop. Thank you for the standing ovation, because so whether we finish strong or not, I already got the standing ovation. We can go home now, y'all. Thank you very much. But that's how I get my standing ovation real quick. Right? All right. Now, if I can take you guys to the next level, and the next thing I'm going to say, y'all got to pay attention even more. All right? It's not what you know, is what? Who you know. All right. It's not what you know, is who you know. All right? That's old. That's old.
Dead wrong.
It's not what you know. It's not who you know, it's who know you.
Say that again.
It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who know you. That's the next level. Y'all better, they'll go and type that on in there. Yeah, put that on down in there. Because everybody else running off that old school stuff. It ain't enough just to know somebody, but if they know you, if I know Attorney Graham right here, the big truck lawyer, right here in Atlanta, Griffin, all that area, we know each other. The things he do in the community, for our young black kids especially, trying to get them on the right track, and his giving back in the community, that's something. I know him, he know me. We got Mr. Leonardo in the back right here, also known as the tax king, but when I have people that need help, that have businesses that's trying to offset some of their taxes, I'm gonna go to the tax king to find out what we need. These are two people that's in this room that y'all need to connect with before you leave anyway, because they're part of helping people maximize their full potential. It's who know you. Do your elected official know you? Y'all might know them. But it's time for us to go deep into figuring out that we're going to do differently than everybody else doing. Everybody that's waiting on business to come their way. I'm going to just send this in. I'm going to send that in. I'm going to just get the business anyway. Do y'all know there's people out here working 1,000 times harder than a lot of other people? It's what you doing with your time. What you doing with your time? Are you investing into yourself? Are you investing into your business? Are you sacrificing? Everybody wanted to be comfortable. Well, we'll get it. All right, it's 5 o'clock. We through. I don't care if you got a job of 9 to 5, that means that 6 to 10 or whatever it is, got to be working on your business. You work your business and you work your job until your business say you can't work on your job no more. If that's what you want. If that's what you want. I worked as a paramedic and I still have my paramedic license. 34 years paramedic. Party rental business 34 years. Elected official in government over 20 years. But I worked that paramedic job every day. The first thing I was like, man, I'm going to get my money. I'm going to put it over here and get my party rental stuff going. I'm going to work, party rental stuff, working every single day. Then I went into the job, to my paramedic job. I said, how y'all doing? Just let you know, you're no longer my boss. I fired my boss. I fired my boss. Because I wanted it bad enough. Some of y'all don't want it bad enough. You want to take it easy. You don't want to go to this conference. You don't want to go to that conference. You don't want to contact the people you need to be contacting. And I'm going to give you guys a list at the end of who you need to contact, no matter where you are. And if you put the work in, they're going to get to know you instead of you just knowing them. I don't care who you are. I'm going to make sure you know me. You're going to know me. Like that lady do a song, you're going to know me. You're going to know me. Because when I see you, I'm going to look like somebody. When I walk by you, I'm going to smell like somebody. Somebody got to work on their blow-by fragrance. When you walk by, you want to look like, who is that right there? It's funny, but it's true. Y'all know when y'all see somebody, who is that? How you doing? I'm so-and-so. When we see y'all, it's the same thing. Hey, how you doing? All right, how you doing? You get to meet them and everything. All right, how you doing? Next day, you know, you slip out that business card on. I do so-and-so. This is what I do. But that's a way for marketing, your image. Some women might come at me, hey, how you doing? You remember that they got a thing called a silver foxes or something? What they call that thing? The older men with the beard. The who? The Silver Fox, whatever. She said, you remember them? I said, well, no, ma'am. But she was basically saying, you look all right for old man now. I said, well, I'm senior consultant with Delvin Sharp Consulting Group. How can I help you? Use it. Use it. That's professional. That's business. If you draw them to you, boom, here you go. If you got the tap or whatever you got, but this is what I do. If I can help you maximize your full potential, I will do that. But at least, like she said, it starts with you. All right, let's go and talk with Dylan. Let Dylan talk a little bit more about the scaling and the difference between scaling and growth and things like that, more to the government and regular business.
And the one thing I want to say before that, too, as we talk about chasing our dreams, firing our boss, and things like that, y'all, we only got like 90 to 95 years on this earth, if we're lucky. So what are you going to do with that time? I'm already a quarter of the way there. So I got, what am I doing with my time? Am I really being happy? Am I chasing my dreams? Am I doing things that I want to do with the time that I have left? You only get this one time. Okay? Let that not be lost on you. That's why I'm here today at 25, doing what I love to do, working alongside my dad, and now one of my best friends in the business who I learned a ton from, is because I had the courage to jump off the porch and do what I love to do. Like I said, I've been in business since I was 10, 11, 12 years old, and I naturally gravitated to that. I naturally gravitated to music. So if it's not one of those two things, it's not getting any of my energy, because I'm focused on what I know I'm good at, what I care about, and what I do better than most. Not better than everybody, but better than most. Good enough to, run a business with them, good enough to play bass on any stage with anybody, good enough to sing on most stages with some people. I can hold it to, and I won't say I'm, Whitney Houston or nothing like that. But again, focus on what you care about, what you're passionate about, and most importantly, what you're good at. And don't be afraid. Don't let people shy you away from your dreams. I want you to make sure y'all are clear on that. Coming here is another good step in doing that as well. You're here, you're around people who can help you get where you're trying to get to. So take a book out of Naomi's page, or a page out of Naomi's book, and talk to people, right? Talk to the government, and that's going to transition into being reputable and being credible. So on the technical side, when it comes to being ready for government contracts, you've got to be a business on paper, not just somebody selling a couple things or doing a couple services and getting a couple dollars. You got to be a business on paper, or it don't matter who you know. If I go to my dad and say, Chief, I'm trying to get on one of these government contracts, and I don't have an EIN number, call me when you got one, right? Because if you don't have an EIN, technically you could still be in business, but you're not going to get a government contract for sure, right? You're going to be a sole proprietor, and guess what? All your risk is also personal. If you don't have an EIN number and you're not an LLC or any other corporation, you're a sole proprietorship, anything that happens in your business or anything that negatively impacts your business can negatively impact you personally, right? So get an EIN number, get an LLC or whatever it is, so you can separate your business and personal assets. Now, when we come to government contracts, you want an EIN number. Write that down. That's what's going to make you an authenticated business in whatever state that you're in. You want a Duns and Brad's number. That's your business credit. NAICS. I don't even know what that stands for, but we got it, right? NAICS. It's another code that identifies you to the government, right? You want all of those things. You want articles of incorporation signed, an operating agreement signed for you and your partner so they know the structure of your business. Who do I need to talk to? Who's the big boss? Are you member managed or are you manager managed? Again, this is back to the basics. I can't get to the government if I don't have the basics situated already, right? So make sure that stuff is taken care of. So you know who's got skin in the game, because they're going to want to know, right? And then you get to more of the specifics now. You've got federal contracts, you've got state contracts, local contracts, city contracts, all those things. If you're looking for federal contracts, sam.gov, sam.gov. That's where you'll go to register to see all these contracts and what's available out there. And they'll give you what's a cage code once you get registered for that. And that's how they identify you as, okay, this person might be uniquely fit for this contract. And then now you're bidding against 100,000 other companies for that contract, 10,000 other companies for that contract. They're giving out over $700 billion in contracts. I think last year, 2 years ago, they gave over 11 million contracts to private sector, right? So the money is there, but if you're not structured already, you're behind the game. You're missing out on contracts. You're missing out on money. And then when you get to those websites, and then for each state, I don't know where you guys are all from, but each state is going to have their own website as well. But government services runs from anything from lawn care to marketing to consulting help to apparel, dry cleaning, all types of different things that you couldn't even imagine. And because it's back to what I mentioned earlier, they need help. The government as a business is understaffed. So they have to source and outsource work to the private sector to be able to fill those things. And as businesses, we get benefits from that. Why? Because we're doing a service to the government. So that may come in the form of a tax break, incentives, other things like that. But you want all those technical things done and out the way. Now, how do you scale for a government contract? A lot of people, when they think about scale, they think about growth in terms of money, right? You got to scale out the base first. Your team has to be ready. Your team has to be scaled out. You have to know who's playing what positions, right? And there's a difference between scale and grow. And this is how I like to think about it. I'll give you a second to write down anything else. I see a couple of heads down. So now the difference between scaling and growing is this. Scaling is strategically engineered. Growing, if you have a good product or service, is going to happen organically. It's going to happen naturally. Now the biggest difference is when you're strategically growing and you're actually scaling, you're planning for your future business. I'm getting my team in place for my future business. Where am I headed? So even if I'm a one-man show, if I want to be $1 million business or $1 billion business, I won't be a one-man show for long. Let me go ahead and plan for that. Let me get people around me who have value, who may do social media better than me, who may do the books better than me, right? Let me get that team around me. Let me build that team out. So now when I do get a government contract, I have a point of contact who they can talk to all the time. I have someone managing the day-to-day. I may connect with the government or whoever my point of contact is every week, bi-weekly, whatever it is, but the team is there. The system is there. And the reason scaling is different from growth is because you can go out of business and you can grow out of business. And what I mean by that is if your team is not in place, you can go so fast that you have to shut down because you can't control all the volume. You can't handle the money. And I'll give you a good example. I mentioned lawn care as one example of a government contract you can have for like VLPRA, which is our Parks and Recreation system in my hometown. They outsource either to the city or to other private sectors to do all the lawn care for all of our parks, baseball parks, football parks, and all those things, right? If I'm Joe Blow at Joe's Lawn Care Service, I got 2 lawnmowers and 2 employees, right? And we doing good. I'm profiting. I know all these things. I'm fine on myself. But I say I want to get into the government contracting space. I don't know how many people live in Valdosta or how many parks we have. It's between 50 and 100,000. You think I'm going to be able to sufficiently support the government with 2 lawnmowers? No, but if I know that's where I'm headed, let me now put down this 3 words. Know your numbers. What am I making monthly? What am I spending monthly? What am I saving? All of those things. I need to know my profit margins. I need to know if I'm healthy enough to scale now or if there's some other things that need to take place, like incremental capital expenditures. It's another word for money to invest with. So pay attention to that, right? Because when you're talking about scaling, take the approach of this is a new business. I have this business that's functioning and running, but I want to expand. And we've had people come to me and say, hey, man, I'm thinking about opening a new restaurant. Well, do you have the capital to open a new restaurant? Do you know how much capital you need to open a new restaurant? Have you run the numbers to say how much it's going to cannibalize from the other restaurant if you're in the same city? Right? Start asking all of those questions so you know how much you need to actually scale. If I know this government contract, let's say it's worth $1.5 million for a year, right? And I have the option to renew after that year. Let me think, okay, if I'm making $10,000 a month with my 2 lawnmowers, I've got to add on this much more capacity, right, in my lawn care business. How many more lawnmowers do I need to purchase to be able to sufficiently honor the terms of this contract, right, so that I can keep this government contract going? Okay, I'm going to do the numbers. Do I have enough in my savings or in my reserve funds to do that? If I don't, Now I have to invest more capital, right? But that's the stuff you want to think about before you get to the government contract space, right? Because the government is a business. They want to have, they want to get the right stuff for the right price. But those are the things you have to think about from a scalability standpoint, is that things have to already be in place. If you want to strategically grow and not grow out of business, you've got to have those things already accounted for. You've got to know your numbers. How much am I making per month? How much am I profiting per month? How much in taxes do I need to hold back?
And
right?
let me add something. What we're finding out with us being business consultants is a lot of small businesses, they're not, you guys are not planning for marketing. Like, marketing is not a part of your budget. As a small business, marketing has to be a part of your budget. It has to. How are you going to get clients, guys? We have McDonald's. McDonald's spend millions and millions of dollars on marketing. Starbucks, all these brands that we're familiar with, they're putting a lot of their budget into marketing, because that's how you acquire the customer. And so when we're looking beyond just government contracts, a part of your budget has to be marketing. How much money is in place for marketing, and what are the various different avenues that you're going to use for marketing? Because certain businesses, we may focus on YouTube, but this business may just need to focus on text message marketing, whereas this business may actually focus on passing out flyers. And I think a lot of us are straying from the basic of things like passing out flyers, giving business cards, standing in front of the store, passing out those flyers, or calling people, those cold calls. Back to the basics. In order for you to scale, the basics have to be there. What's the cold call list looking like? Who is even your ideal client? When you go before the government, they have to have an understanding of what product or service do you bring. Does that make sense?
The government is going to ask, how can I get the job done the best for the best price? So you got to understand that too, right? And I got another question for you guys. If you're ever thinking about government contracts and all those things, how many know what a SWOT analysis is? Raise your hand. Keep them up. How many have done a SWOT analysis on their own business? How many have done one in the last 6 months? Last 90 days? Last 30 days? Y'all, the world is changing fast. If you're not doing a SWOT analysis on your business every 30 days to understand what's happening in the market around you, and if you're focusing on government contracts, you better be paying attention to where government is investing. Trillions of dollars going to trillions of different places. What place is unique to the service that you offer? Okay, this is what they're looking for. This is where they're investing money. Let me see who's over that department first and foremost. Let me see who I can connect to, who can connect me to that person if I can't connect directly. And am I prepared and ready for that? But you should be conducting a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis on your business every 30 days. What are we really good at? What are we better than most people at? Where are we weak at? So that we can, when we're scaling, we account for that department. Not the things that we're good at and just getting more people that are like us. People that are strong where we're weak. We need that. What are our opportunities? If we see government contracts as an opportunity, what do we need to be the best in that market or the best in that field? And then the threats. What can put us out of business? What can hurt the government on the back end? How can I account for that? Do I know what they need before they ask me for it? Am I able to provide differentiated value with my service, right? Or am I able to provide a quality service, right? All of those things are very important when it comes to not just the business in general, but also when you're dealing with government contracts. Because you can get paid a lot of money for a long time if you do your job the right way. And if you're able to see around corners for the government. Back to what Naomi said earlier, how do I provide value? People want to get money before they provide the value. Provide the value first and the money will come easily. Y'all get that? Easily. So hone your craft, continue to build your craft, and then from that, start to look in all these different areas, scale out your team and all those things. And then again, EIN number, NAICS, Duns and Brads, that's your business credit, operating agreement, all of those things before you even think about going into the government contracting space. And then you've got federal, local, and state contracts that you can bid for. So think about where your industry can provide the most value to the government and focus on that space. Get to know your local, state, and federal officials personally so they know who you are. And I think you may have a story later about how that's actually happened, where they bypassed going into sam.gov. They bypassed even doing all those things. He knew the right person, and this person said, oh yeah, we actually been looking for that. Let me call this person. Let me get you connected to this person. So again, relationships matter. Having your together matters. Your brand matters, right? So
and what's your elevator speech? Like when you meet somebody and you're in an elevator with them for 15 seconds to 30 seconds, what are you telling them? How are you capturing their attention? Because that same elevator speech is simply going to be that same 2-sentence line that you put as the vision or the mission statement, so that when they're looking through those government contracts, all those hundreds and hundreds of applications that has been submitted, that is going to be the statement that they look at, and that statement should be different. That statement should scream the value that your product or your service brings. Somebody sitting in the elevator with me, I'm like, hi, I'm Naomi Delva. I use networks to create systems and structures to help businesses succeed. Network, you heard that. System, you heard that. Structure, you heard that. After 15 seconds of being in the elevator with me, I already gave you my business card. You remembered everything that you needed. All my information is on the card. You heard system, structures, network. What is your elevator speech? Because that's going to be the vision statement. That's going to be the mission statement that you put on top of those applications so that they can see the service or product that you provide, so that they can give you those $1 million contracts for 1, 3, 5, 10 years where you don't got to go find another client.
Or the contracts in perpetuity. Y'all know what perpetuity means? Forever. You can be making money forever. And I know we got about 15 minutes left, so before I let him close us out, what is your one-liner? I want everyone to take a second right now to write down what is your one-liner. When people come up to ask you, what do you do? If you can't tell people what you do in one sentence, you're doing too much. And you need to go back to the clarity and focus level course. But take a second right now to write down, what do you do? And that's going to be the beginning of your elevator pitch.
Right, what do you do? Y'all take the time to do that. Because if y'all notice what they said, she said one of the things about the structure and the systems and network, and he talked about the wise counsel, clarity, and focus. That's all through us, even our interns. They understand our basis. Our main goal as a company is to help others maximize their full potential. That's it. That's it. So be clear what you do. Everybody you talk to, you got to be able to tell them that on the elevator, who you are and what you do. Boom. That's it. They got to know. Go ahead.
Did you say you would bypass SAM?
Well, let me show you. He say basically on governments. Go ahead.
You can bid on the opportunities that you're interested in. You said no bid?
Well, let me put the set asides and also things that we're doing for minorities. Okay, on the clarification of what you bypassing on some of the government contracts, and I'm going to show you how certain things they can go directly to you for. Everything doesn't have to be bidded out. Right. You have to be right.
Your business will
right.
be registered in SAM.
Right, you register, but sometimes we talk about bypassing certain
May
things.
not necessarily have to bid.
Right, I'm going to give you that right now. All right, get ready for this list. I'm going to give you a list of who you need to have a relationship with. But good observation on that. But let me give y'all who you need to talk to. Let me show you some bypassing that go on. All right? Because I had this guy, he saw me, he do body shop work, and he came up to me and said, Representative Sharper, how you doing? And it's a city thing. And, he's like, we don't never get, them police cars. When they get in an accident, the other guys are always getting the police cars and city vehicles and all that kind of stuff. And I say, I know you've been in business about 30 years. You ain't never got a police car? He said, no, I be telling the guys when I see them sometime, and I say, okay, well, I said, you got all your stuff together, right? Your EIN number, you got your stuff right. I know you got a body shop, but do you have your stuff together? He said, well, we got everything together, this, that, and that. I said, you got insurance, your business bank account. You don't know, writing checks from your personal account to the city, and your email, Janice #3 strawberrywine@hotmail.com. All this little stuff matters now. This matters. If you come up to me and see me on the streets or something, you come, how you doing, Rep Shop? How you doing, man? I want one of them cuts right there, dog. I feel you, man, but I can't have you sitting up there talking to the city manager like that. We cool, we cool, but no. You ain't finna make me look crazy. But I make sure they got all the things he said together first. I called the city manager. I say, look here, man. John been here 30 years. He been trying to get them cars. And y'all ain't gave him not one police car. Not even a motorcycle, nothing. He said, yeah, I know John. I said, okay, well, John know me. And I know John. So y'all don't bid out all them cars every time a car get wrecked. We ain't got to put that on bid. Your purchasing manager can almost call who he want to call, as long as within reason. 2 weeks later, John called me. Hey, man, how you doing, Shopper? I'm doing good, Mr. John. How you doing? But they got me 2 down here. They got me 2 down here. I appreciate that. They got me 2 cars down here. I said, well, you better make sure you fix them right. Because they better not call me and talking about we gave John two cars. It's messed up. So I'm going to shut John down. A guy saw me at the bank. He said, Mr. Trump, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. He said, man, I've been trying to do welding. And them big old containers they have at Public Works and all that, where after a while them trash cans start needing to get put back together and all that. And he's like, man, I do that kind of work, man. I've been trying to work with the city. I said, you got your stuff together? He said, yeah, I got it together. I mean, we work hard every day. I said, I've seen your building. He said, how about having me get out one of them contracts, man? I said, let me check into it. I called the city manager. I said, tell me about them public work. This is what I'm telling y'all. We're accountable to y'all, too. If you got your good city council or good state rep, they're going to try to look out for you. So I called the city manager.
They work for you.
Right, we work for you. We work for you. So therefore, we went ahead, called the guy, called the city manager. He said, well, let me check him out. He got his information in. Man, always make sure you submit your stuff in. Get all your paperwork. That guy done made over $1 million since I talked to him. Minority business making over $1 million.
Strictly government contract work.
Just the government contract work. But get this list right here. This is who you need. This is who you need to make work for you. Y'all ready? Find out who your city councilman is in your district. If there's a city council at-large person, find out who your mayor is. Find out who your city manager is. Your county commissioner for your specific district.
Yes, city manager.
Right, that was before yeah.
Typically, larger municipalities will have a mayor and a city manager.
Mm-hmm. Some of them, right. All right, now let's get to your county commissioner for your district. Right. All right, and then get
or wherever you're located.
Right, where you're located, whatever
physically.
City. Yeah, physically. We get all of them. Do
all
whatever, everybody. Everybody, what they say, everybody. But get that, your county commissioner chairman. Right, for your district, like whatever city you live in. You can go to MVP, and I know in Georgia, you can go and you find out everybody that represent you. And some other states may have that you can put in your address and stuff like that and name, and it'll pull up all your representatives. But these are some of the others that I'm adding on to. You got the county commission chairman, county manager. Get the county manager. All right. And then also the Board of Education. You all know the Board of Education have them contracts too. All right. So you want to know your Board of Education district person, the chairman of the board, your superintendent, your chief of police, your sheriff. Find out who your state representative is for your district, your state senator for your district, your U.S. congressman for your district, your U.S. senator for your district. And you can also throw in there, see if you can get a hold of the vice president or the president or somebody. But have a connection to the White House even. Because what happens, guys, when they know you and you send that email or you get a little lunch with them or something, just by talking to your city manager and getting to know who they are, even the mayor or the chief of police, all this money is being awarded to somebody. When y'all complain about, well, we don't never get no contract, they be at lunch with Bob. Be sitting right there. How you doing? I'm so-and-so. I'm going to City Hall. How you doing, Mayor? I'm so-and-so. I'm Dex Sharper. I do party rentals and everything. Y'all need tables, chairs, what you need? Oh, well, we have some. Okay, get with so-and-so with the city director downtown. They be having events. Okay, thank you. Ms. Sharp, we need some tables and chairs. Or they call the company, whatever. But I'm making relationships. I'm working on the business. And that's what we got to do. You got a list now. You got to fill in all those names. Yes, sir. Anybody got any ideas what I can call that? Huh? Well, it's local, it's state, it's federal, it's government. Government contacts.
Government officials.
Government networking.
Your government
Government
officials
alliance.
on different levels.
How about like that? How like that? Huh? Well, municipalities is mainly cities, but it's government alliance.
Yeah.
Because we covered all of them.
Yeah, we do.
All right, so I think we might have a good name that we can start with a little bit. Government alliance, because that's everybody, from local to federal.
I would put official.
Yeah,
You know,
well, you got that federal in there when you go into your Congress, but the state. All right, the government state alliance. How about that? Would that work?
Hold on, Naomi has something.
I'd say.
Naomi has something.
But either way, on the list.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Alliance, I think, is a really good word. The only reason why I would go towards officials is because more than likely you're going to be using Google, and we're talking about like SEO, so government officials, because it's all the different levels. You don't want to say the district or the state or the local. So I'd say government officials because they're on the different levels, especially if you're using Google to find that information. Yeah, government officials.
Okay.
Government official. ChatGPT, it's a little hard for ChatGPT to be able to compile that information just because so many districts. Oh, I'd be interested in learning. If we can find ChatGPT to do that, I'd be interested. Just because there's so many different officials.
All right, quickly right here.
I got to see that. I don't know if I believe that.
Yes, you have business cards with us?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have? Go ahead.
Same way I did when I was 12 years old and I walked to the bank and I wanted to talk to the president of the bank. And from then on, they called me Mr. Sharper every time they saw me walk in the bank. And they respected me, and that's how you do it. The same way. Don't let your age discourage you. That's why I gave that story. To let you know you could do business.
One thing that I know to be true also, is that people are willing to help people that are already helping themselves.
Right. Well, I'm going to give you my card because we have what we call, what time is it, 3 o'clock right now? Okay, because we have what we call a hard stop that we have to stop at a certain time. But we'll be over here in the corner, and we would like for you guys to go to our Google, www.delvasharper.com, and give us a Google review if this information helped you out today. Please do that for us, or video testimonial or anything, but we'll be over there
Like
in the
t-shirts,
corner.
flyers,
Go ahead.
anything?
We can talk. Quick question. Right. Okay, y'all, here's some information we can give y'all real quick. Even though y'all have the list, that you don't just go straight up and just say, hey, do I do this? Okay, no, you talk with them, let them know who you are, that you are their constituent, and you happen to own a business, and you would like to see, if there's any way that you would like to talk to them further, and then just listen to what they say. See, a lot of times they'll tell you what they want you to do, to say, okay, well, what are you doing? Give me your information. All right? All right? All right, thank you. We appreciate everybody. Did y'all get anything out of what we did today? Will y'all please give us a good survey? If you feel like we did good, give us a good survey. All right, thank you.